This movie is pretty rough. For the most part, this is a pretty bad Star Wars movie. First, I gotta talk about what worked. I will take any excuse to see any movie on a real IMAX screen. There are some beautiful sweeping shots paired with those glorious aspect ratio changes. And Ludwig Göransson cooked with the synth-wavy score. And that's all that stood out to me. Time to get into what didn't work. The action is hit or miss. The fights are the strongest when it involves a shootout or hand-to-hand combat. We do have a few fights that have that John Wick-like gun fu in there, but any fight involving CGI creatures looked hideous. This one scene that takes place inside of a fighting pit was nearly unwatchable. Tiny spoiler, but I gotta talk about the final fight in the movie. It's a fight between the Mandalorian and this other bounty hunter, and it was pure heat. But it was intercut with another fight involving CGI creatures, and it looked so unappealing to watch. It was like watching the best seafood run ever, but constantly getting interrupted by a game of gang beasts. In the plot, Mando takes on a job to retrieve Jabba's son, Rada. There are a lot of very unsurprising twists and turns. By the end, the characters really aren't developed all that much, and this came off as Mandalorian DLC. It reminded me a lot of those straight-to-video Disney sequels. The ones that were very obviously 3 to 4 episodes of a scrap TV show, poorly stitched together into one movie. In this movie, I could clearly see the cutoff points on where each episode would end and the next episode would begin. It felt like the movie swapped writers and directors every 30 to 40 minutes. And I also gotta bring up another elephant in the room, Grogu. He was big when season 1 dropped. And that hype came back a little bit during the first half of the movie. There were some cute moments with him and these other creatures that sound like Roy Disney. The puppetry and the animatronics feel so lifelike in contrast to the other CGI creatures that are shown in this movie. And then the last third of the movie happens. At that point, I started feeling the Grogu fatigue. We get this very long stretch of time where Mando is out of the picture, and for an extended stretch of time, Grogu becomes the main focus. And it doesn't work. It felt like the entire sequence went on forever. It was essentially filler within a movie that already feels like filler. It reminded me a lot of that 20-minute long Olaf short that played in front of Coco all those years ago. The Mandalorian and Grogu could have been more. Instead, we get a story that is bland and predictable, and pacing that is pretty messy. Disney and Lucasfilm played it so safe that we end up getting one of the most lifeless entries in the Star Wars franchise.